Welcome back to Let That Sink In. My name is Tiffany Smith. I am the Director of Marketing and Communications here at PM and Associates, and I am joined by my co-host Todd Morgan, who is an outside sales rep in St. Louis. How you doing, Todd?
Doing wonderful. Thank you.
Great. We are joined today on episode 8 by John Marini from J.R. Smith. John is the Northeast Regional Sales Manager for Morris Group International with a focus on J.R. Smith. He's worked with MGI for 4 years, but has been in the plumbing industry selling drains for a total of 10. How you doing, John?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me today.
We are so glad that you were joining us. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of the other episodes, so excited.
Oh, thank you.
To be part of it.
It was about time you came on then, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
First of all, want to get into a little bit of the history of J.R. Smith and have you tell us and take us on a little bit of a journey about the Smith Company and its history. I know that it was started in 1926, and a lot has happened, obviously, since 1926. Can you give us a little bit of the history of J.R. Smith from then and then kind of lead up to where we are today?
Yeah, no, certainly. I think if you asked a lot of people now where the company is based or where they started, they probably would tell you Alabama because we've been there for so long. We've had a lot of contractors down there over the years for tours of the facility and the manufacturing site. In fact, anybody who's been down there gets this basically cast iron paperweight that we put your name on it, machine it and tool it down there and give it to you when you leave. But in reality, the company started in New York City in 1926, like you said, with J.L. Smith. He was actually a salesman for the National Lead Company. But as he was going out and developing these relationships with different customers, he understood there was a need for brass and bronze products as well. Mm-hmm. So he actually reached out to foundries in the area and manufacturers and started bringing in these products and selling them. And that's how the whole thing got started and continually grew over the years. In the 30s, they branched out into marine products as well. And then in the 1940s, J.R. Smith got involved. J.L. named it after his son, J.R., back in 1926. And then J.R. got involved in the 40s, although I think he was very reluctant. The story I've always heard when you talk to Steve Cromie, our president, who actually worked with J.R. Smith, was that he was trying for a baseball career and actually was in the minors and went up against Satchel Paige at one point.
Oh, that's cool.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He got a hit off of him, apparently.
Nice.
Wow.
And Satchel turned to him at first base and told him, "That's the last hit you'll ever get off of me." And as from what Steve tells me, that was true. And shortly after, he came on board and got into the industry with his father. And we're lucky he did because he really took everything to the next level for us. And in the 70s, his son, J.L. Smith II, got involved. But also that was a big year because that's when they moved everything down to Montgomery, Alabama. At the time, had also purchased a foundry. We don't own the foundry any longer, but we still do a lot of the machining and the fabricating and tooling in Montgomery. But that was a big move, and we've been down there ever since. It's about a 300,000 square foot facility that we continually add on.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. It's really something to see, and that's why I showed that paperweight, because there's been a lot of people down there who've toured it over the years, and I think they're shocked at just really how much we're doing in the facility and how we continue to grow. And part of the reason we continually grow is then in 2010, the Morris Group International got involved. Don Morris was a longtime friend of J.L. Smith's. And in fact, J.R. Smith and Don's father, Earl Smith, were longtime friends and business partners. And
wow.
They would sell J.R. Smith products on the West Coast under their agency, which was Earl L. Morris Company, or Elmco, which still exists today, is a series of reps on the West Coast and in the Southwest. But they had also started their own manufacturing company, Acorn Engineering, and continually grew and added new companies to it. And eventually, when J.L. Smith II was looking to sell, he reached out to Don Morris, who in 2010, they merged. Don bought 51% of the company at the time and really spearheaded new innovation and new investment into the facility down there, but also, the products we started producing, which some of them I know we're going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
And then just recently, Don ended up buying all of J.R. Smith, owns 100% of it now.
Okay.
And just continually is pushing us to reinvest in ourselves. And, the one thing we stress is making our own products. And also what we've really done a good job at over the past couple of years is investing and creating inventory and continually pushing products out to the field, even despite all the lead time challenges people have had. We've been able to still crank out material.
John,
That's
talk to
awesome.
me a little bit more about the merger with MGI. How has that benefited, J.R. Smith, the customer, and talk to me about, maybe new products that have come from the merger. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, certainly right out of the gate, there was investment in the actual facility, new office spaces, a beautiful new showroom that not only, displayed J.R. Smith products, but it also incorporated all the other Morris Group product lines. So you have your Murdoch water coolers in there. You have a full functioning Acorn vac system. You have a lot of the Acorn fixtures in there. Control valves, a variety. Some of the fire protection lines are in there. Again, we're 28 companies under the Morris Group banner.
Right.
And,
Incredible.
still privately owned, which has been a huge advantage for us.
Absolutely.
But as far as products for J.R. Smith, we really started investing more in the trench drain division. We came out with our new line of trench drains, a zip trench, I believe it was 2018. So we have both a 4-inch a 6-inch and a 12-inch version. Because of Acorn Engineering's capabilities, we expanded our stainless steel drain line. Acorn Engineering, of course, has a long-standing history manufacturing stainless steel products, very well known for their penal fixtures and institutional fixtures, but they had the machinery, the technology, and the know-how to really help us round out our stainless steel offering. And we really doubled down on that, and it's been great for us ever since.
Prior to the Acorn merger, were you guys even in the stainless steel business at all? J.R. Smith's a foundry, so that was a cast iron foundry.
Yeah, we had cast stainless steel.
Okay.
So it was very heavy duty stuff. But they really helped us they have what you call a deep draw process to their stainless. And it actually allowed us to get into more of the pharmaceutical or food processing plants. And it's at a more aggressive price point than a cast stainless steel would be. And the nice thing with the deep draw process is it creates a completely smooth finish on the stainless steel product, which is big, because what you don't want to happen, and the idea with stainless steel is you don't want anything adhering to the surface where bacteria could actually grow or build up on. So with that deep draw process, it's a complete smooth finish. So if you wash it down or anything, nothing should really adhere to the surface.
I don't sell J.R. Smith in our territory. The Indianapolis office proudly represents J.R. Smith. But I do know about the zip trench line, which, as you mentioned earlier, came out in 2018. Apparently very popular with the contractor.
Yes.
Can you expand on that a little bit? Why is zip trench line? And you're going to be 100% educating me here because I'm totally ignorant to the line at the moment. But so I'm curious to know why that became a favorite for the contractor. I understand there is some ease in installation and it's a durable product, but if you could take it a little further, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I think our big focus is what you just said, Todd. It was the ease of installation. So many of our ideas come from the field. It's what we always stress. We want feedback from the end users, the installers, the contractors. And what we were hearing over and over again was, there's too many joints you have to deal with in the field, right? So too many channels you've got to put together. Couldn't we make something a little longer? Or, when we ship stuff out to the job site, then we got to keep track of where the frames are, and then we got to put the frames out on the job site, and it's more time that we spend doing that. And so we thought to ourselves, well, why haven't we looked at a longer channel, right? If you have a substantial run of trench, why do you need to have 4 or 5 channels coming together? Maybe you can have 2, maybe you can have 1 in some cases. So what we wanted to do was come up with the longest continuous sloped run of trench in the industry, and we came up with the zip trench. So the idea is, it's 3 meters, so almost 10 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So, 0 to 60 feet in 6 sections is kind of our slogan with it. And then we thought to ourselves, well, in most cases, if you're going to have a run that's going to be over 10 feet, it's probably going to be something that requires a decent load rating.
Mm-hmm.
And anything over like a load class C load rating is probably going to require a frame anyways. So we looked at putting on the frame at the factory, and we're able to do it. And it's just one less step that the contractor has to deal with out in the
Mm-hmm.
field. What's nice then is we were able to mold the rebar clips into the steel frame. So what happens with a lot of these channels is the rebar clips are molded in the plastic sidewalls. They're polypropylene channels.
Mm-hmm.
And often when you do a concrete pour, those rebar clips can break off with the weight of the concrete. And of course, these trenches have to be leveled and sitting on rebar before you pour concrete.
Sure.
So we put the rebar clips into the steel frame, and thus we avoided that issue moving forward of the weight of the concrete snapping off those rebar clips. The steel rebar clips aren't going anywhere. So it's just another thing that, the contractor doesn't have to deal with out in the field. So the big thing was, all right, let's give them less joints to deal with. Let's give them one less step, which is putting that frame on.
Mm-hmm.
And let's make it a more durable product by molding or putting the rebar clips into the steel frame versus molding them into the plastic channel. And we get a lot of good feedback. I mean, I know in PM's territory, they came on board with us just a little over a year ago. And, I think the momentum they have with the zip trench has been great to the point where they're stocking a lot of it in their facility. Mm-hmm. And I think that goes hand in hand with the success we've had is the amount of inventory we're keeping close to the customers out in the field. So, I mean, if you looked at their facility, I can't tell you how many channels they have, but they stack them vertically in their facility. And, they're shipping complete out of that office in most cases. And
that's pretty awesome.
And that's not just there. Every territory we have, we want the reps stocking as much product as possible, and that includes trench.
So John, talk to me a little bit about how Smith is able to keep lead times manageable while a lot of the drain manufacturers have really struggled, especially on domestic orders.
Yeah, I mean, I think the secret sauce for us is what we call the golden triangle. It's something you'll hear Don Morris, our owner, talk a lot about, and everybody really representative of Morris Group is proud of the golden triangle. And what that is Montgomery, Alabama, is of course the hub for J.R. Smith, which we talked about, full manufacturing and warehouse space. But then we also have the manufacturing facility in Southern California. It's multiple buildings. It's been there since, the beginning of Acorn Engineering, and as it grew to the Acorn family of products, and then grew into Morris Group International. And then all of our high volume stuff is actually run in a facility in Tijuana, Mexico that we own as well. So the idea there is we're controlling our own destiny.
Yeah.
and we're controlling a lot of our own manufacturing. And a lot of it is done within North America. In other words, we don't have a lot of product coming in from overseas. So, these
Right.
past couple of years, when you looked at the news every night and you saw those ships with containers out on the ocean,
Right.
whether it was on the East or West Coast,
There was no J.R.
I'm not
Smith
saying we
on the
didn't have
ship.
any product in there, but we had far less than I think a lot of our competitors in the industry.
Right.
And thus we were able to continually keep a flow of material going out. And then one thing we've always stressed, and it comes from our leadership down, is that we want to have inventory out in the field. We're not in the
Right.
business of, cutting costs by keeping inventory low. We feel one of our best assets is having the product, but not only do we have it on the shelf in those locations I talked about, Southern Cal, Tijuana, and Montgomery, but on the shelf at our rep warehouses. So on a weekly basis, our reps get a stock truck that comes out of Montgomery, Alabama. For years, it's only been J.R. Smith product on that truck. But what we've done and started in the past year is our Kwik-Ship program. And we've included other Morris Group brands into that. So now on that weekly stock truck that J.R. Smith comes on, you can also get Murdoch water coolers. You can get Chronomite water heaters. You can get our controls package, which is thermostatic mixing valves. We're also going to get into pressure regulating valves. You can get safety product, terrazzo shower bases, Elm door access doors, and our trap primer line as well.
That's
So these are
fantastic.
brands that we're growing every day, and part of how we're doing that is making sure that when they're on a specification, or a contractor's maybe in a bind on a lead time, and somebody else may be even specified and they can't get the product, they know they can call the MGI rep and go and pick it up that day because it's sitting at their facility.
Absolutely.
Is
J.R.
that
Smith
something that go
fills
ahead,
our,
Stephanie?
I was just going to say J.R. Smith fills our warehouse walls, and it's gorgeous. Yes.
It is. It looks
As
awesome
you
because
walk
they do
through.
such a great job at PM stocking and keeping that warehouse looking so good.
Absolutely.
Is that something that you require of your representatives? Are all your J.R. Smith reps stocking rep, or do you have select stocking reps across the country?
I believe every single one of them stocks. There's one or two in there, but that's certainly something we look for. There's no doubt about it. Of course, in today's time too, there's kind of the Amazon effect out there, and everybody wants the product now, right?
Yep.
Right.
And we understand that, and we want to get it out there and close to the customer. And again, the best way to do that is with the rep warehouses. Certainly, we have wholesale support out there that we appreciate tremendously, and they work well with us. But we also have that stock that our reps have to kind of bolster that and back them up as well.
Absolutely.
So obviously you guys have a full line of things like, floor drains and roof drains and lav carriers, urinal carriers, things like that. But speaking to the trench drain, you mentioned earlier, and again, you're educating me here. You mentioned they're a polypropylene trench. Is that correct?
Yeah, but we have much more than just polypropylene.
That's what I was going to ask you. What other trench drain is
Sure.
available for what other types of applications?
Well, you had mentioned the stainless steel earlier. So we have several styles of stainless steel trench. A lot of that is going to be, in applications where you're going to probably have some chemicals being washed down in the system, whether it's a pharmaceutical facility. One of the big things right now is grow houses, right? You got them all over the country, and they're using different types of fertilizers or, whatever chemicals they're using. The trench has to be able to withstand and not deteriorate over time. So stainless comes into play there. Also, people use stainless because of the aesthetic too. So we have our line of shower drains out there. Fine line linear drains are 9667 and 9666. They have a nice finish on them. They look good out in the field. There's a variety of different grates you can add to them, and we can kind of fully customize them as well. because again, we're doing a lot of the manufacturing ourselves. And then we also have an agreement with ACO Drains, long-standing, I think 30 plus years at this point. And so we're able to sell some of their polymer concrete trench, which is still on a lot of specifications out there. And, if something falls within the plumbing scope, we can often supply the polymer concrete when it's called for as well.
You guys also do prefabrication. Is that, the prefab, I was reading on your website that you guys offer to the contractor a service such as prefabrication. Is that going to be on things like carriers? And so you're going to basically pre-assemble like a lav or a water closet carrier maybe in series?
I wouldn't necessarily call it pre-assemble. So it's more that we have products that aid in a contractor's prefabrication process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the trend for many years now is the contractor doing more and more in a controlled environment in their facility and shipping out complete units of products versus everything being done on the job site.
Sure.
So particularly with water closet carriers, if you have a long bank of them in a facility, maybe it's a stadium, right? And you've got, a couple water closet carriers and then, 3 lavatories. They'll often build out as much of that in their facility and bring it out, on a custom cart or lift it with a forklift and drop it all out on the job site and then hook it up to the plumbing and they're ready to go. Just far less labor out in the field. And
sure.
Right. I was going to say, so tell about all the benefits that could be to the contractor. I mean, obviously, yes, so much less labor in the field.
Yeah, definitely. And certainly in the plumbing trades, there's, the truth is there's less and less people coming into it. And these contractors are still as busy as can be, especially this past year. And they need to do a lot more with less people. And prefab allows you to do that. On top of it, you can do a lot of the design work in-house yourself and keep it in a controlled, safe environment in a factory type atmosphere where they have process in place. And they can standardize on different products they use and just streamline everything. They become that much more efficient. So our carriers allow for multiple different prefabs. So what I mean by that is, we have specially designed legs that you can mount strut or angle iron on, and you could do it on the top, the bottom, the front of the top, the front of the bottom, the back, anywhere really.
Sure.
And build basically your rigid frame for that battery of carriers. And of course, that rigid frame is just what's needed so you can actually transport that much weight and all those carriers out to the job site and drop it in place.
That's fantastic.
Think of, we've had a lot of feedback from contractors over the years on the way they do things. We learn more every day. So certainly we take in new ideas. We don't think we've got the perfect product out there. We think we've got a really good one, but we're always looking for new ideas from the contractors on how we can improve and better incorporate our products into their prefab process.
Yeah,
well, if any contractors are listening right now, give us some feedback. We'll pass them right along.
Well, that was the point I was going to make.
Right.
Think of the products that have been developed over the years simply from the contractor feedback. Again, what are your needs in the field, right? How can we make your job easier?
Exactly.
You get that feedback. And then as a company, if you can provide those sort of services, then you're just adding that much more value to J.R. Smith.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so important. And that's why we really emphasize getting contractors down to the Montgomery facility, because one, I think they appreciate seeing a manufacturer who's still doing a lot of the manufacturing domestically. And you get to see people actually, polishing material or welding or, laser cutters or robotics or draw presses. I mean, we've got a variety of different machines down there. And we're doing a lot of it ourselves, but then we sit down with the engineering team and they talk about what they like and more importantly, what they don't like about the product. And then we learn from there and try and get better.
How often do you host contractors down there? Because I just think that's some of the most valuable trips we take are taking a contract. Yeah, we're taking the contractor to the manufacturer, not only so they can see the practices and how the products they're using every day are made, but just like you were saying, the feedback that you get from them. So how often are you guys pulling contractors and inviting them down to, I guess, Alabama? Because the reason I'm asking is, again, somebody might want to reach out to Tiffany or Michael Henderson and arrange some sort of a trip.
Well, as much as we can is the
Sure.
right answer. Things definitely slowed down because of COVID the past
Yeah,
year,
right.
So we're kind of getting back in the swing of things. So I don't think we really put a limitation on it other than just making sure the team down there, has the time and resources to set something up, because certainly, you come down there, we want to also, take you to a nice dinner and have a little fun while we're down there too. So it takes a little coordination, but really and because of the weather in Alabama, the months of the year aren't too limiting, other than maybe it being too hot in the summertime.
Right. So, well, that's great. I appreciate you expanding on that a little bit, because again, I still think the contractor trip into a manufacturer's facility is just worth a ton, both for the rep, but also for the contractor and the manufacturer. Everybody gets something from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, John, it was great seeing you at the ASPE convention in Indianapolis this year. And
yes, it was.
It was a great show. You guys had a great booth. And as much as you take away from ASPE, I think one of my favorite moments was sitting on the Bling Toilet. I sent photographs to my wife from ASPE.
Yes. I don't know how I can ever sit on another toilet again. I mean, I'm ruined for life. Yes.
So for those of you watching the podcast, the Bling Toilet is literally, imagine a completely diamond encrusted tank and bowl with the most shiny, polished, almost like a polished nickel toilet seat and lid on this thing. It's amazing.
Gorgeous.
It truly is a Bling toilet, and as Tiffany alluded, it's gorgeous. It's outstanding.
It's hard to come back from that. Yeah.
It's wonderfully over the top, and I love it. And I'm curious, do you have one in your home?
In my home?
Yeah, you're not sitting on one now, are you, John?
I don't know.
I'm not sitting on one now. How awesome would that be if you just
if you pan that camera down?
I think
pan down.
Maybe if I hit my sales quota this year, they can throw that in. But no, I mean, the closest I got was sitting on it for a photo with Don Morris, our owner, at the ASPE show, which he did with so many. I'm sure some people listening who were there maybe took a photo with Don as well. But
that is fantastic. Oh my gosh.
We should mention that the Don Morris is part of Bling Nation, which is a
Bling Empire.
Bling Empire. Wow, forgive me.
You can tell that Todd is a reality show watcher. Yes. It is Bling Empire.
Bling Empire, which is on Netflix. A very popular show too.
Oh, it's awesome. So fun.
Bunch of the folks here in the office,
they
watch it as well.
Season 3 started this week, so it's in the top 10 once again for viewership.
That's fantastic.
Awesome. Bling Empire.
Yes.
Don Morris and his wife are on there.
Yeah.
And I think there's maybe a few shout outs to Acorn on one of the episodes. I haven't got through them all yet, but I've enjoyed the first couple. So
does Don make several appearances on the show, or is most of the focus on his wife and her and the group of friends?
I think most focus is on his wife, but Don's in there quite a bit.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Cool. That's really cool.
And every shot he's in the bathroom with his Bling toilet.
Bling toilet.
I mean, and every shot, I would hope.
That's awesome.
Always promoting.
I love it.
Yeah, well, that he is. I
love it, John.
He's very good at it. So
John, before we wrap up here, I just wanted to ask you, what are you excited about for the future of J.R. Smith?
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got a lot of new things coming. We're focused on some new products that we're excited to get out to the field. We showed some of our reps those products in our one-on-one meetings. We had our reps come in to a room that we had set up and just kind of went over some things. And we definitely have some product innovation coming with J.R. Smith. And I think also, the Kwik-Ship brands is going to be a huge thing for us. Again, promoting some of the brands that we know we can grow market share in, and getting more inventory out in the field. And on top of that, all of these brands have very, very innovative products. I think that's what really excites me, is the innovation at Morris Group International never ceases to amaze me. It's just, we meet on different products on a regular basis, and it's always, how can we make the product better? And then we go out and actually do it. We don't just talk about it. We actually sit down and we start doing it. So the next meeting, we've got a rendering, and the next meeting, we've got actual product to play around with. And then we're testing product. And then finally we launch something. So it always keeps things interesting. And as a salesperson, you always have something new and exciting to sell, and go out and you have a new story to tell your customers. So that gets me more excited than anything. And it's just fun to watch the company grow. And we're also starting to do more where we're getting cross-trained and working together as a team, the sales team, where you don't just have somebody selling Murdoch and somebody selling Acorn, or somebody selling Whitehall healthcare products. We're all starting to get cross-trained and work together more. So we're that much more effective in front of the customer.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We can come in and really talk to them about any of the Morris Group lines, and that just makes us that much better.
It really is a great bundle of products under the MGI umbrella.
And we are very proud to represent them. Absolutely.
Big time.
Well, we appreciate that. We appreciate having PM and Associates on board. I mean, again, it's been over a year, and you guys are just really blowing us away with the way you guys handle customer service and innovative things like this podcast. I got to say, you're the only rep that I know of out there doing this. And I'm sure some will follow suit, because I think this is a really cool way to get a message out and talk to your manufacturers.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that.
Thanks,
We've been having a lot
John.
of fun doing it.
We have.
Excuse me.
Well, thank you so much, John, for coming and joining us today. This has been such a fantastic conversation. And if anyone would like more information on J.R. Smith or any of the MGI lines that PM and Associates reps, please give us a call at 317-827-0419 or visit us online at p-massoc.com. Thanks again, John.
John, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.